Hey gang, welcome to Family Law Assistance. We are in crazy times. Government advice is being changed in a blink of an eye. Police don't know what's going on. Court staff don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. So in amongst all of that, we're here as the voice of reason, sort of. The sanity check, if you will, in these really bizarre and strange times. So, there's been some, let's just address the elephant in the room, okay? So for those of you that don't know, we went live at around 11 o'clock a couple of nights ago. And I went live because there was the announcement from the Prime Minister about how to stay at home, who should stay at home, what were the rules about going outside. It was a whole thing. And his advice and his announcement was super unambiguous. As people that have done this for collectively 25 years, we were trying to get ahead of the curve, as we always have, to bring the news to you guys to work out what the bloody hell is going on. Things are changing on the daily, not just the daily, they're changing hourly. And I know that because I went live at about 11 o'clock at night, and I was saying, look, you know, and we had to call it as well, you know, and we had to sort of make tough decisions based on government advice there and then. It was a whole thing. And so I jumped on a live to bring you as much as I knew and as much support as I could give you. What I didn't know was that so a couple of things. We had gone through the Prime Minister's speech with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, Jesus Christ, I think there was a transcript of it. So we did that. And then we scoured government advice, the latest. We had to go with the latest, and putting together what we already knew from Children Act proceedings, all of that stuff, all of our legal knowledge. That combined with what the government at the time was telling us, I put a live out going, okay, you know, kids, stay where you are, doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. And this is how much things were changing. Now, I get family law as emotive, I get it's emotional, but I don't know, I think I went live at around, I don't know, it must have been 10:30, 11 o'clock at night or something like that. At 11:37, couldn't make this up, you couldn't make this up. At 11:37, the government had changed its advice with the caveat that kids could move between homes. So at that point, I thought, okay, the whole world is confusing enough as it is. The last thing that you guys need is for us to be equally as confused. So what we did is we took down the live video, we took down the advice just to avoid confusion, just to simply avoid confusion. The courts don't know what's going on. The police don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. And this is a fast-paced, ever-changing scenario. What I do know, though, is this, right? I know that we've been flooded, as you can imagine, we've been flooded by calls and messages and emails, yada, 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 asking for help and advice. So we have two kinds of streams of advice. We've got this. We try and keep as much as possible everybody up to date, as much advice as possible. You guys know that we do the Ask Us Live, anything about family law. This obviously is unprecedented, and we are working, guys, we are working with what we've got. Now, just to add stuff into the mix, because, you know, because the situation is not confusing enough, right? To add something into the mix, it varies across the country. So we went down to our local courts, and some of the court hearings are being vacated, some are going ahead, some are being remotely. No, I knew, right? I knew that before coronavirus hit that not all courts sang from the same hymn sheet, because, wow, that would make my life a heck of a lot easier. They don't. So what we've noticed that if that was a situation before, can you imagine what it is now? It's the Wild West. That's all I can say, guys. It's the Wild West at the moment. we are helping things hour by hour. Government advice is changing. It's a whole thing. And what we're trying to do is, first of all, to offer support. Okay. I know that people who are going through family law, people who have gone, even if you're not in a sodding court case, the fact that you've got maybe you are separated parents, maybe you're in that position where you've got children that are having to go from one home to the other. If that's you, then you're probably going to be watching this video. You're probably subscribed to our Facebook page, and you're probably there watching lives. So we've been flooded, and we've been trying to get as much advice and support for you as possible. Things are changing. It's mad. It's the Wild West. But what I do know is this. When this is all over, there are going to be a flood of applications. Because it's a little bit like, it's the Wild West. And when you've got nothing in the interim to help co-parent in a lockdown, what are you going to do? Now, typically, when people can't communicate, or whether there are domestic abuse issues or just issues, welfare concerns, you know, there's going to be welfare concerns, because guess what? That takes up most of court applications. So what the bloody hell do you do? What do you do when when you're in lockdown? And not just you, but like the whole country. What do you do then? So anyway, so what we've come up with is just some advice. Now, I know some of this is going to sound trite. I get it. All right. And we speak not just as the voice of experience and of reasons, but we speak as somebody that goes through this personally, on a personal note as well. Okay. I can see some questions coming in. I will get to them as much as possible. All right. So when I say, you're allowed to laugh, okay, but communication is going to be key. Now, I get it, okay? If you guys were communicating, you wouldn't be here. And there's not going to be anything that legislates for absolutely everything, because we're in an unprecedented scenario. And you know what? Even if coronavirus hadn't have hit, we would still be. It's always on a case-by-case scenario, because that's what family law is. You know, in a way, criminal law is a lot easier in some respects, because the burden of proof, as it were, has to be so much higher. So, in terms of where we're going with family law is based on a balance of probabilities, which is great. I get why it's a balance of probabilities, but doesn't often feel a lot of help, because from where you sit, you see things from one point of view, from one side, and naturally you think that you've got the children's best interests at heart. And you know what? Actually, so's the other half as well. So's your ex. Harriet, hi Harriet. What happens if my son has been told medically? I don't understand. I think you mean has been told medically prone to the virus but got a court order. So Harriet, I would suggest, I'm watching but it stopped. Hi Donna, thanks for joining. Harriet, what I would say is, look, go to your doctor, get something from the doctor. All of you are going to be having to practice due diligence, because when this is all over, look, court applications going on now, you know, right here, right now, I'm preparing casework, I'm preparing paperwork to help those people that in the absence of not being able to communicate with their ex-partner, is going to need a court application. What I will say to you is that depending on where you are in the country, if there's an emergency, which, you know, guess what it is, that court hearings are still taking place, even though they may be remote, and there may be a huge backlog, because obviously court staff can't get to work. And look, anybody that's been through court knows that, you know, look, they were barely into the 19th century, let alone the 21st century. So yay for that. You know, I think this ironically is probably going to revolutionize the way that people are going to conduct business. It's going to revolutionize the way that courts will work. It's going to have to. So what I would say, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit, Harriet, is they're medically prone but got a court order. So technically if you stop contact, you'd be in breach of the court order. But if you've got due diligence and you've got a letter from a letter from your GP. I would communicate that with your ex, and you know, look, we've got the gift of internet. You know, the fact that we've got all of this. I know you can't hug Skype. I totally get that. Not that you'd want to at the moment anyway. You wouldn't want to hug anybody at the moment anyway. But we have got the gift of the internet, and see if you can come up with some arrangement. If you need something specific, holler at me later and I'll get you booked in for a meeting. Donna, I'm watching but it stopped. Fires. Hi Fires, thanks for joining. If resident parents is not anymore, okay, I'm going to try and understand that. So hi Fires, if resident's parent is not respond any messages on alternative contact like phone call or FaceTime. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to ask there, Fires. I'll interpret though. So I understand then that maybe the ex isn't responding to your messages. All right, so look, some of this is going to need a court application. There's no two ways about it. You know, the whole country's in lockdown. It's a shitty situation, and it's a fast-paced, changing situation as well. And listen, we're not immune from this either, because we had to make a judgment call ourselves. So I totally get it. Communication has always going to be difficult, because you guys wouldn't be in the situation that you are if it was hunky dory. So what I would recommend, Fires, is either make some proposals, make some definite proposals, not the buffet of options. Propose something to your ex, okay? If not, holler. I'll see if I can book you in for a meeting. So we've got a couple of slots left for today, and I think we've got a couple of slots left for tomorrow. So if anybody's needing a meeting, just like holler. Harriet, I've done that and been told by the doctor to isolate my son. He's 3 years old and been told the doctor is prone to the virus. What would you advise? Would you advise phone calls instead? Okay, so if the doctor's given you a letter about that, amazing. I'd send a copy of that letter, Harriet, to your ex, and I would propose FaceTime. FaceTime, internet, you know, look, we've got the gift of the internet. You're communicating with me. Ashley, he's not responding to my request for FaceTime. I'm sorry to hear that, Ashley. Yeah, it's crappy, isn't it? It's really crappy, and it's crappy because it's an ever-changing, fast-paced situation. And I know it's one of the reasons I've jumped on live here. I totally get that there are going to be instances where, quite frankly, the ex is going to dick about. Okay, I would hope that wouldn't be the case, but you know, I'm not naive enough. I mean, this isn't my first rodeo. I get that parents are going to dick about. It might need an application, you know, it absolutely might. I mean, it's one of the things that we've been flooded with. Yeah, I get it. So and here's the thing, if something needs a court application, okay, and I will prefix that by saying, make sure you've done your due diligence, make sure you have been communicating, make sure that there are reasonable proposals put forward, okay. Things aren't going to be the same, certainly not for a little while. It's difficult when there's a children operating between two homes for things to potentially remain the same. Now, the government advice is that as much as possible, that remains the same. There's always going to be caveats. I mean, because, you know, there's always going to be, you know, caveats, clauses, things that don't apply. I get that. Listen, it's part of the reason why I'm on the live. Okay, Ashley. Okay, of course, they're coming in fast and slow. Fast and fast and fast. Okay, Ashley, he's moving the children between the family home and his girlfriends for sleepovers. Again, you know, you can communicate that, Ashley, with him, but if it needs a court application, I suspect it will. Part of the reason I'm doing these lives is because I know that inevitably, when this stuff is over, there are going to be court applications. I get it. I totally get it. If we can prevent that, because who wants to go to court, right? Like, nobody. But if that needs to happen, that needs to happen. We've got, look, you've seen it on the news. You know, you've seen people sort of wandering around in groups, and you sort of you're staring at the TV, going, which bit of stay at home is unclear. You know, so I get it. You know, some people are going to do what they're going to do. Sometimes that's going to need the intervention of the court. Okay, Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. Thanks for joining us. My mum has SGO. Yeah, they have stopped all my contact. Okay, if they've got an SGO, Chelsea, there will be there's going to be a contact order for you to have contact. Okay, I ask what are the proposals that they're going to have in place. Is there a reason why they're stopping all contact, or just cause? I don't know. That one sentence is probably not enough for me to give full advice. Again, guys, if you need an appointment with me, like, just holler, okay? The initial consults are 50 quid, and it just gives you a plan and a way forward. And sometimes people feel better with a plan, you know? All right, Harriet, FaceTime can only work on iPad, iPhone. Any ideas how to get around this? Mobile phone, okay? Hold the phone up to him. What if X is not happy with other means? He's going to have to make an application. Okay, if you've done, Harry, if you've done your due diligence, okay, he's going to have to make that application. Okay. Called Chelsea. Court order said I can have weekly contact. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, there must be a reason then. I'm guessing. I don't know. I suspect they have a reason as to why that's not happening. If you need help, holler, okay? Because I would say, just spitballing here, that I'd want to look at your contact order and then get things in writing. Guys, get things in writing. If someone's going to muck about with court order, they have that paper trail going, okay? Holler if you need help, Chelsea. Harriet, just want to say you're brilliant. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. All right, I'm not going to cry. I'm not crying. Not getting emotional. You know, it's funny, isn't it? Because we have been working around the clock, to make sure. Sometimes, I'll be honest, it's a thankless task because, you know, I get it, okay? I get it. It's emotional. You're not going to get anything more emotive than your kids. And hey, I haven't even begun to address what's going to happen in other areas of family law, such like divorce, finance, moving out of home, non-molestation orders. I'll get to that, but that's not for this video. So thank you, Harriet. That means a lot to me. It means a lot. Okay. Okay, so Stephen, hey sweetheart. So Stephen's going to drop a cheat sheet on how to get through this. He's pinned the link. Brilliant. Thank you, sweetheart. Zainab, hi Zainab, thanks for joining us. I am at risk group, but I know it'll be hard for child to not see his dad. Yeah, I totally get that. I asked the dad to confirm if anyone was still working in his home, and if so, what messages is he taking to separate my son from them. He said it's none of my business. Yeah, well, yeah, Zainab, see, comments like that just aren't helpful. It really is not helpful. Have you got that in email? I hope so. Because comments like that really are not. They're not going to reassure you, and you have absolutely a right to ask for that. Absolutely a right. You've got options here. If you don't think that he's safe, he should be practicing. And there's nothing wrong, in my personal opinion. And listen, you guys will know that family law is not black and white. Family law tends to be more of an art than a science, okay? But it's not unreasonable, Zainab, for you to want to know how he's protecting the son. Comments like it's none of your business in a situation as to today, not helping. And if I was assisting him, I'd have thought that was a bit of a dick move, but that's just me. Susie, hi Susie, thanks for joining us. What if one of the parents and partner has suspected symptoms and is not at work? Yeah, we're hearing this a lot. If they've got suspected symptoms, look, it's quite clear they need to self-isolate. It is. I'm just wondering sort of why, because it's almost like that sentence didn't finish, Susie. So I'm sort of wondering why. And what if one of the parents and partner has suspected symptoms and is not at work? Well, they have to self-isolate, you know. We had to make a judgment call. In fact, one of the things, personal thing, you know, no bullshit, because we've been through this ourselves, you know, heck, we're still going through it. So we had to make a judgment call, and thankfully, you know, we got, you know, there is some communication between my stepson and his mother, and we came to an arrangement. Look, if one of them had suspected symptoms, child stays where they are. Not spreading this, guys. Okay, Zainab, don't know what to do. I keep saying this, okay. I can only do so much on a live. If you guys need an appointment, holler. I've got a couple of slots left. I'm trying to think, because detail. So the diary management. I got my girls on course. If you guys need an appointment, like seriously, holler. The initial consults are 50 quid. People feel better with a plan and a way forward, because I'll tell you one thing for nothing. Once this is gone, once we're kind of back to some kind of normality, I mean, what's that going to look like? I have no idea. But what I do know is that all the stuff that you're messaging me with now on the live, and I'm glad you are, by the way, the courts are going to be flooded. And I guess what I'm trying to do, it's a bit like, somebody once asked me, they said, what do you do for a living? And I go, well, I'm trying to wrestle the gun from people's hands. You know, I can see it's like Cassandra, if any of you know your mythology. It's a bit like I can predict the future, and people, I'm there going, this is going to happen, and people go, no, it won't. I'm going, look, this is going to happen, and then lo, it happens. Yeah, okay. So Zainab, if you need some help, sweetheart, holler. I'll fit you in. Okay. Sarah, hi Sarah, thanks for joining us. I've just dealt with an enforcement, used you guys, and things couldn't have gone any better. Not crying. I keep my daughter inside. There's no way I can send my daughter for him to be irresponsible. He may make an application, and I will deal with it if it happens. Yeah, Sarah, I think that's really sensible. And oh, I'm so glad that you had a great result with using us. Not crying. You know what? I guess I'm a little emotional because, you know, we're working around the clock here to make sure that we fit everybody in. Make sure that we're dealing with everybody's emergencies, because it's an emergency. And I totally get that. If you were sick of seeing my mug beforehand, get used to it, because you'll probably be seeing it a lot more. Okay. Harriet, how do I get an appointment? Message me, girl. Message me. Message me. Yeah, message me. We'll fit you in. It's 50 quid, right? 50 quid. It gives you a bit of peace of mind. Okay. Yeah, message me. Quite honestly. All right. Oh, brilliant. I'll have a cup of tea. Awesome. We ran out of milk, so we've had to buy frozen milk. So, so not a big fan. Okay. So we, just FYI, we ran out of milk. So yeah, we ran out of milk. That's what happened. So we've got frozen milk. So the milk that's in my tea, it's just frozen lumps of what we've got in the freezer. Okay. All right, thank you. You're welcome, Harriet. You're really welcome. What happens if the court receives all these applications after this happens? Harriet, that's an excellent question, and I'm glad you've raised it. They are gonna be inundated with courts. They're going to be inundated. So I guess part of what my advice would be is to start the process now. You know, you start it now, you've probably got a realistic chance of it having a court hearing date. By court hearing date, I mean maybe remotely. But the fact is that you're going to get the ball rolling, okay? I know the shitstorm that's coming up. It's like, I can see it, I see it. So part of the reason I'm doing these lives is to preempt that. Because one thing that people need to happen is to have their situation dealt with as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And listen, I'm not the first, trust me when I say that a court application is a final resort. It really is. I would rather people not go to court. Who wants to go to court? Nobody. But if that needs to happen, we're here. And in a time where wages are stopped, are tight, not many people that I know of are able to afford the solicitor's costs of £250 an hour plus VAT. It's just, it wasn't happening before. The majority of court applications and people who were going through the court doors were litigants in persons. That's why, you know, that's why we've been flooded, you know, that's why we're flooded. And that's just gonna get even more so. So, you know, people who are OG subscribers, yeah, you get priority. All right, Zainab, it's in an email. Good. Print that email out. Get sorted, get organised, which is probably another tip, okay? If it's going to happen, for the love of God, guys, get organised. Get a folder, get your emails sorted, put things in writing. Yeah, do your due diligence. If children are prone to infections, seek help from the doctors. Get something from the doctors. Like, who is it? Is it you, Zainab? Had the medical reports? Yeah, good for you. Well done. Claire. I'm supposed to have a meeting at 12 o'clock. I'm probably going to miss that. I want to stay here though and address a couple of things. Stephen, if you're watching, can you just message my lady at 12, just so I'm going to be a bit late. All right. Claire, thanks for joining us. My ex has just said he'll be collecting the boys next Thursday regardless. I'm the most poorly... Oh, geez Louise. Gosh, Claire. Oh, love you. 26 days today. 2 out of the 3 boys have symptoms. I've been isolating 14 days tomorrow. Okay, so we had a very similar situation, Claire. Do you know what I would do? I would call the police. Because the last thing that you're going to need, your family are going to need, is a breach of the peace. Okay? So I would ring the police and say, look, he's going to rock up tomorrow. Okay? And my legal head is actually thinking that you may be able to do something legally to stop that from happening, but I'm guessing that you're not in a very well place at the moment. So my first thought is to keep you safe. So for now, and I get it, you know, things are changing on a penny. This coronavirus, it seems like yesterday that we all had some kind of normal life, and now we're adjusting to the new. So I get it. So Claire, keep in touch. Ring the police if you're going to rock up. Okay. Yeah, and email him. Tell him not to come. Explain. You probably have done, but explain that you have some what you've put on me there. Okay, put that in an email to him. Susie, should my daughter be sent to his? It depends. It depends if they've got symptoms. Yeah, I'm kind of running. Was it you that said about? I'm trying to scroll past. I can't remember if it was you, Susie. Oh right, yeah, the family with suspected symptoms. If he's told you that they have suspected symptoms, no. I mean, because at the very least, you're gonna, you know, there's a spread. Hello, there's a pandemic, and I'm just going to keep bearing that in mind. You know, this is a pandemic. If they've got suspected symptoms, no. I was just trying to think of a way to pad that out. No. Harriet, who makes the application, the ex or yourself? I would get you to do it. I always get yourself in the driving seat. Yeah, I'm always proactive rather than reactive. Susie, thanks. And how long should we distance? Government guidelines. Ashley, okay, I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. My ex refuses to tell me where he is with the lockdown, with the nose and the high risk. He simply refuses to. It's just not helpful, is it? If parents are not communicating, that's a problem. I know it's a problem because I'm doing a live, so yeah, I get it's a problem. But I would say from his point of view, that isn't helpful. It's not helpful. How on earth are you supposed to make a judgment call that, you know, especially it's a pandemic? Did I mention it's a pandemic? You need to communicate. And if he's going to be difficult with that, then you have to make a judgment call on that. All right, Harriet, you're both amazing. Thank you. Honestly, it means the absolute world to us. It really does. People get emotional. I get that, and you know, I get people also angry. So I totally get that. Yeah. Okay. I'm just scrolling down. Stephen, thank you so much for responding to some of the comments. So Stephen's sort of answering your comments as well. We're a good double team. Great double team. Okay, well, okay. I don't know where he lives, and he has a 2-month-old baby. You'd think he'd have an inch of common sense. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised to see that. Common sense. Am I just cynical? I don't know. Sometimes I think I've been doing this for far too long. I don't know. Probably not. The Kirsty Miller. Hi, Kirsty. I'm taking one more. Okay. I will be responding. Look, I will be probably jumping on a live a bit later, but I do need to speak to somebody I'm late already, but you know. What if you use a third person? That person is vulnerable. Also, further, working as a delivery driver, we still have a court order in place. Yep. So if that, oh, you put more. Third person for handover. Sorry. Yeah. If that third person is vulnerable, it can't happen. And unless you can think of unless you can think of somebody else that can do the handover. No. When you say vulnerable, I guess older. Probably a family member, I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm guessing that'll probably be the case. yeah, I would definitely have a judgment call on that. Of course you're going to be in breach of a court order. I get that. But, you know what? The court orders don't legislate for acts of God. Okay? And this is what we're dealing with, I would communicate, see if first of all that somebody else can be arranged. Okay, so see if somebody else can be arranged. I'm not advocating breaching court orders. I'm not advocating stopping contact, but we are in a pandemic and we have to adjust accordingly. Okay. All right, listen, guys. I know I'm not going to get to all of you. I will be back. Okay, I will be back. I was going to add a time in, but with things changing so rapidly, it might be a case that I'm just jumping on here as fast as I can, because what I've also got, so my day is a bit like this. We've got loads of phone calls and loads of meetings because people are so uncertain, I mean, just looking at your questions here and now, people are really, really super uncertain. Okay. I will be back. If you need an initial consult, for the love of God, get in touch, because they're going like wildfire. People feel better with a plan. Now I can jump on here and do many lives and we will keep you up to date as possible, but if you need something more than that, holler, let me know. Guys, stay safe and wash your hands. Mwah.